Hey, Joe, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, tonight we are discussing the life and death of the man, the myth, the legend, Sheriff Buford Pusser. At just 26 years old, he became the youngest sheriff in Tennessee state history, and in just a few short years achieved legendary status. He took on multiple crime syndicates and survived over a dozen shootings and stabbings. He became such a living legend that his life was the basis for a hit movie, Walking Tall. However, Buford would die an early death, and many decades later, scandalous information would come to light and call his entire legacy into question.
Quiet your mind. Ever since the Earth has circled the sun, there have been fantastic tales of wonder and mystery that the faint of heart dare not discuss. But three brave, uninformed souls have the brass to tackle every extraordinary happenstance, from the modern age to the dawn of Mantis.
Welcome back to Dawn of Mantis, true crime, mysteries, and more. Joe, you got a new one for us. So here's the thing about Buford T. Pusser. I only know very little just from watching those movies with my dad, but it's so foggy that I just remember like bits and pieces. One thing I remember is the scene with the baseball bat where I think he goes up to a car and he's like, looks like you got a tail light out, and he busts the tail light, and then he's like, and looks like a headlight. Do you remember that from those films in particular?
Yeah, I must admit it's been a very long time since I've seen the original 1973 version of Walking Tall starring Joe Don Baker. But I did before, actually during the research for this episode, I watched several clips off YouTube, just random clips. That was not one that I saw. I saw a good bar fight inside of where he was like shaking down a gambling ring.
I don't remember the original version as much as I do the remake with The Rock. Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Okay.
For the
And he carried around I want to say he carried around a 2x4.
It was just it was something like that, right?
That sounds,
Yeah, he carried around a 2x4, but I guess the town was corrupt or it had some corruptness in it, and he was trying to get the corruption away, and so he used it against the bad guys.
Yeah. That's what I kind of realized kind of on the way up here, that it must have been something like that. I always thought the guy was a jerk. The reason why I bring that up is just a few episodes ago, Joe and I were talking about how we just don't really love fiction anymore. We just like to watch like stuff based on, documentaries and true stuff. So I'm excited to kind of hear the true story behind all that, because I remember even as a kid thinking, I'm not really gelling with this movie. This seems kind of weird. But I mean, if there's some truth to that and we can find out the real story, I'm super excited about it.
There's quite a bit of truth to it. There really is. There was a lot of crime for kind of way more than you'd expect in rural Tennessee. It was like a sawmill
town or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. And just rural
kind
Tennessee.
Kind of bootlegging thing.
You wouldn't expect like mafia type figures to be around there, but there was a shitload of crime at the time.
Exactly.
And then as soon as Buford H. Pusser, and the reason I giggled a while ago when you said Buford T. Pusser, I know you're thinking about
Buford T. Justice.
Oh I messed it up. We were just talking about that. We were just talking about how it wasn't that, and I did it.
Buford T. Pusser.
That's a Freudian slip. I heard you laugh. I was like, what I say was funny. It's like I wasn't joking. But it's so funny that I did that subconsciously.
Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper.
Which
that's all right.
that is, I am a huge fan of that.
When I get home,
work
I'll slap
of fiction.
your mama in the mouth.
What for, Daddy?
I just love it. I had to hold his hat. That's so amazing that he...
My hat fell off, Daddy. I wish your goddamn head was in it. Yeah.
So, okay. Hey, that's cool. Hey, I'll do it again, I'm sure.
Nobody better than Jackie Gleason.
Nobody, man. Oh, God.
It's amazing. It's so amazing.
So let's just picture... Anytime I'm describing scenarios, just picture Jackie Gleason.
Our listeners will love it. Let's go Smokey and the Bandit every time we get a chance. It'd be amazing.
All right, shall we start?
Let's go.
Buford H. Pusser, not T. It stood for Hayes.
Okay.
He was born in McNairy County, and this is where everything goes down in McNairy County, Tennessee, on the 12th of December, 1937, to parents Helen and Carl. So at the time, his dad, Carl, was chief of police for the nearby town of Adamsville, a position his newborn son would soon fill, or eventually fill. Buford quickly grew into a big old country boy, and I mean Big.
Was he like, I'm going to guess 6'7"?
6'6".
Oh, man, I was close.
250 pounds, 6'6", a pure cornbread, beef-fed country
pack a lunch.
Obviously, you would be shocked to know that in high school, he excelled in basketball. No way!
Nuh-uh.
He was 19 feet tall. He didn't have to try even. And even football. He played football. He was good at football.
Oh, yeah.
But Buford had his sights set on something else. He wanted to serve Uncle Sam.
Okay.
He was patriotic.
All right. Which branch?
Marine.
Okay.
He went first in, last out.
That makes sense.
Yep.
For what very little I know about this story.
Well, he went hard. He went full on.
Yeah. Semper Fi. Right? Is that one? Yeah,
and that's
that
it.
one.
Semper Fi. I don't know what that means, but it's what they say.
Semper Fidelis.
I used to know at one point. What is it again?
Semper Fidelis.
What does that mean?
It means always faithful.
Oh.
Yeah. I love it.
It's Semper Fi, short for Semper Fidelis, which means always faithful.
So I didn't know that, but, I'm glad that we took the time to find out because I do think that that's important to know. So I'm glad that I know that now.
You know how that makes sense?
Yes.
Infidelity means unfaithful.
Okay.
Semper Fidelis. There's something there with that language. Fidelis, fidelity. Very cool.
Yeah.
Fresh out of high school, Buford enlisted in the Marines. Now, a big old strapping bull like Buford was surely a drill sergeant's dream, right? However, it was not to be. Barely into boot camp, it became apparent that Buford suffered from asthma. So he was quickly given a medical discharge. Yep. About a year and a half after his failed attempt at joining the U.S. military, Buford moved 500 miles north to the Windy City. There, Buford found a rather unorthodox use for his hulking frame and big muscles. Can you guess what it was?
No.
Wrestling.
Oh, wrestling.
Wrestling.
Very nice.
Now, I had to do some deep diving on this one because, believe it or not, there's not a lot of info concerning the wrestling circuit in Chicago in 1957.
So like adult wrestling.
Yeah, well, that makes it sound weird.
No, but I just mean like, it wasn't like for a college or a school or something. It was like.
Right. Yeah, adult wrestling.
Yeah.
It was like the precursor to the Hulk Hogan, to the WWF type stuff.
Yeah.
I did find that the main wrestling outfit in that region at the time was Fred Kohler Promotions.
Okay.
So Fred Kohler was a top promoter in Chicago from the 30s all the way into the late 50s and ran big cards at Chicago Stadium and produced the popular TV show Wrestling from Marigold that made Chicago a national wrestling center. This was who Buford wrestled for under the stage name. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Buford the Bull.
Oh, I like it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. While on the wrestling circuit, Buford met and courted a woman named Pauline Mullins, and the pair tied the knot on December 5th, 1959, just a week before Buford's 22nd birthday. He continued to wrestle in Chicago and around the Midwest and Mid-South for another 2.5 years or so, but for whatever reason, never made top billing. He was always like one of those lower guys, I
mean, I'd say it, but maybe it was the asthma.
It could have been.
I mean, seriously, if it was enough to disqualify you, he could have ran out of gas and if you're in that line of work, I mean, you need to be probably on top of your game.
His promoter.
I'd say it, but
he collapses after 2 minutes. We have to tap him out within 2 minutes.
I mean, that's what they did with the Ultimate Warrior.
He
He'd
did.
gas himself out after his entrance. So he could only have like 5-minute matches.
you would think if it was now and you wanted the guy to be a star, your opponent could have like some hidden, the inhaler and get him in a headlock and go like, yeah, no one could see. It'd be like slide a hand. I don't know.
That is too funny. I remember the Ultimate Warrior. His big stage,
you're right.
He would run a quarter mile into the ring and then he would grab the ropes and go crazy.
Yeah,
and then
after
after that,
run all around the ring.
It was time to wrestle. And he's like, hey, by the way, I'm Tucker. I am spent.
That's exactly what he did.
Can we stop?
Anybody that wrestled him, that's what they say.
But the dude, I just remember just his physical appearance was like amazing.
Yeah, dude, that guy was awesome.
But I guess because his veins were just always popped out,
Yeah.
Because he was always like, oh, it's like the one that I wouldn't want to fight. But turns out that's the one you do want to fight.
Yeah.
Because if you could make it just for a few minutes, you'd be good. But yeah.
Yeah, by the time he ran to you and peacocked around the ring a few times, you could just go up to him and go, just blow him over, and he just falls down.
You just do the Rocky thing. You just got to make him wear himself out.
In this corner, the Ultimate Warrior. In the other corner, middle-aged, standing at 6'4", Ivan.
Yeah. I'm not getting too old. I still got some moves on me. I could evade for a little bit.
I'm not as young as I once was. I'm not as good as I once was.
As I ever was.
That's right. Whether he was tired of only wrestling journeymen or tired of Chicago or both, Buford and his wife decided to move back to his native Adamsville, Tennessee in early 1962.
Okay.
Once he was back home, Buford decided to follow his old man's footsteps and became the police chief of Adamsville that same year.
Yeah.
Buford remained in this position for the next 2 years, and then fate intervened. You see, in the summer of 1964, McNairy County Sheriff James Dickey was killed in a car accident. Buford was quickly elected as the new sheriff of McNairy County. At just 26 years old, he was the youngest sheriff in the history of the state of Tennessee.
Wow, that's so young.
I wonder if there's a threshold, like for president, isn't it like 42 or 44?
It seems like something like that. I don't know right offhand. But yeah, there is something. But I guess there wouldn't be. I mean,
for sheriff? Like, could there be a 19-year-old sheriff?
Well, I doubt that, but probably 21. That would be bizarre, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a 19-year-old sheriff.
He's just out of high school.
Yeah.
Or an 18-year-old sheriff.
He like fixes up his cop car and makes it like Fast and Furious. Puts like glow lights under it and stuff.
Well, you know, you're getting pulled over in McNairy County when you hear the weekend blasting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that young-ass sheriff of ours.
You hear sirens and you also hear California. No doubt about it. Of course, I don't think 19-year-olds listen to that song anymore.
No, I'm so old. The Weeknd was the first thing that came to mind. That's like, I don't know. That's
closer
shit
to what would now. It would be now, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What you named came out in like the mid-90s.
Yeah, I'm really just thinking about the stuff we used to blast in our subwoofers. I mean, that was always a good song to blast with your subwoofers. It always sounded really good.
Yeah.
I was into that for a hot minute.
Well, as the newly crowned sheriff of McNairy County, Buford wasted no time in getting right to work. He certainly had his work cut out for him, too. So, there was a significant criminal element in the area at the time. First of all, there was the State Line Mob.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. This was a criminal outfit that mainly operated along the state line that ran between Alcorn County in Mississippi and McNairy County in Tennessee throughout the 50s and 60s. They specialized in bootlegging, prostitution, gambling, robbery, murder for hire, and even tourist fleecing.
That sounds like a well-diversified mob. They've got, you want to have your investments all like in different areas in case one part of the market goes soft, you can take from that and go to the other one. So I'm not pro-mob. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm just saying that's a diversified mob.
They had a very diversified portfolio.
They did. This mob did. Very nice.
By the way, I had to look up, do you know what tourist fleecing is?
No, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I heard you say that, and I was thinking about the next thing I was about to say, but I didn't put enough thought into it. What is that?
Okay, I had no idea what it meant. And it's really simple. It's just like taking advantage of tourists, like by setting up street games, fake tours, or selling worthless trinkets as like authentic souvenirs. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's tourist fleecing.
So you mean the thing that Disney does? The thing that Disney World does?
Yeah, that pretty much, yes.
Okay, I never realized Mickey was in a mob, but now I get it. Oh,
shit, we're going to get canceled for that.
Oh, come on, I can say that. Freedom of speech, I don't even care.
Disney's going to hear us.
That is a big racket. That whole thing's a big tourist trap racket. I'll say that, and I don't care who knows it.
When are you guys going?
We already went.
Oh, that's why you're speaking
I know
from experience.
But you know what? I did have a good time. When I wasn't getting price gouged, it was fun.
$9 for a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't all so shady, but it's like anything. It's all the theme parks, all the movie theaters, as I get older, I guess that's what happens when you get older. I don't think anything about you changes. I think you just start realizing and you start caring about getting screwed. That's what I think it all. That's what I think it all. I mean, I think when you're young, you're like, yeah, I am, but it's okay. But as you get older, you're not okay with it. That's all I think it is.
So besides this State Line Mafia outfit, there was a second crime syndicate in town.
What was that?
Their name was the Dixie Mafia.
All right.
Woo!
The Dixie Mafia. What were they all about?
Cups. They just made cups. No, I was joking. That was stupid. They were a loosely connected criminal organization based out of Biloxi, Mississippi, which operated all over the South from the 60s up until the late 80s.
Did they have a diversified criminal portfolio?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
Tell me about that.
They focused on fencing, and I don't mean the, how about you? Ting, 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 ting. I don't mean that.
What other kind of fencing is there other than the fence?
Apparently, that's the slang term for the buying and selling of stolen goods. Fencing.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. What does it have to do with fence or fencing or poking at each other with long, pointy swords? This is called fencing.
Okay.
But they also operated, are you ready?
Yep.
Hotels.
Hotels, casinos.
Well, gambling dens.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, because in the remake, it was a casino that was going in town.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was kind of the main plot.
That's just
point.
another gambling den, casino,
Yeah.
tomato.
Yeah, they just modernized it.
Also, strip clubs. And that's it. Restaurants, gambling dens, hotels, strip clubs, all up and down Route 45. Now, these places were all hotbeds for all sorts of shady activities and the sale of illegal moonshine. Buford Pusser, the civilian, had been painfully aware of these crime syndicates, and he despised them. As Adamsville chief of police, he lacked jurisdictional authority to properly go after them. But as sheriff of McNairy County, boy, you best bet I'm coming for your asses. Buford Pusser was in a far better position to take them on. McNairy County covers nearly 600 square miles. For reference, and I don't know why, you know what's weird? I swear to God, when I read that, actually I didn't read that. I looked it up. I was like, how big is McNairy County? So I looked it up and it was 580 or 90 something square miles. I'm like, okay. And then immediately I was like, I wonder if it's the same size as Oahu.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Turns out exactly the same size.
Is that the biggest island?
No. Hawaii, right, is the big island.
Oh, I thought, I'm so uninformed.
Oahu is
the
the slightly smaller island that had Pearl Harbor. That's the one I went to.
Okay, I see.
So it's just weird that, like, I wonder if that's as big as Oahu, and it's almost to the mile the same size. Now, I don't know how many people know Oahu, how big that is. Maybe that doesn't help anybody. But that's what came to my mind. So it's about the same size as Oahu.
Okay. Hey, that's relative.
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't know. Shit. Route 45 runs north straight through the middle of McNairy County. And McNairy County also shares 23 miles of state line with Mississippi. So this meant that much of both the state line mob and the Dixie Mafia's operations were now within reach of Sheriff Buford Pusser.
Oh, okay.
As the new sheriff, Buford focused on eliminating the stills that were producing the illegal liquor, as well as a few of the major venues through which it was being peddled. And this is what brought Carl Towhead White into his sights. Old Towhead.
So he was like the main antagonist?
Yes, one of them. I would say this gal named Louise Hathcock was the number one antagonist.
Okay.
And she was a bad biatch, but we'll get to her in a second. She really was. But for now, we're talking about old Carl Towhead.
All right.
The inside of he was ingrown right here. I don't know. I'm like, how'd you get Towhead? I don't know. They was going to call him Carl the Cuticle, but that didn't fit.
Actually, that's better.
Old Cuticle Carl.
Makes him sound cute, though. Yeah. Old hangnail.
That's a good one, too. You don't want to mess with Hangnail White. Towhead was the leader of the aforementioned state line mob and had been operating heavily in McNairy County. He dealt most of his illegal liquor out of his own club, and that was called the White Iris. Buford was well aware of this and hit Towhead hard. In fact, in Buford's first year...
Hit Towhead hard.
All right.
I don't know. It's the right sentence. It's
Okay.
just funny. Sorry.
In Buford's first year as sheriff, he shut down over 40 of Towhead's stills. So many, in fact, that Carl Towhead White was forced to leave McNairy County altogether. And stay out. Right?
Yeah.
He just ran his ass out.
Yeah.
But old Towhead wasn't the only moonshiner in town. There was also a guy named W.O. Hathcock who peddled his moonshine out of the back of a shady establishment he called the Plantation Club. However, Louise Hathcock, that gal I mentioned a minute ago,
Sure.
and her husband Jack were probably the most prominent bootleggers in the area. Now, by the way, it seems they were some relation to W.O. Hathcock, but I couldn't find specifics.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a super common name. Anyway, Louise and Jack owned the Shamrock Hotel and a restaurant called the 45 Club. So it was a perfect setup. folks could get drunk on the Hathcock's homemade hooch and meet up with prostitutes in the club and then slip over to the motel where they could rent rooms by the hour to engage in their sinful fornication, right?
Yeah.
They also engaged in other criminal activities like robbing their own customers. The couple had once been arrested for beating and robbing $105 and a diamond ring out of a Memphis insurance salesman named Maury Watkins.
So their people would like check in and then they would like go put on like a disguise and then this is a stick up.
I don't even know if they disguise. I just read there were several accounts where someone had checked into the motel and then they would just beat the shit out of them and rob them.
Like, how could you complain? It's like, I went to check into this shady establishment that's illegal that now I'm breaking the law by checking in there.
Yeah.
And they robbed me. So you couldn't complain about the robbing.
Yeah.
Because you're already guilty of being there.
That's like calling in like someone stole my cocaine.
Stole my drugs, yeah. You know, not everything that's brilliant is like legal. And that's one example. It's smart because nothing can really be done about it, I think.
Yeah, because, you know, I wonder if old Maury had been over to the 45 Club before, drank some illegal moonshine, chatted up some bird, said, hey, you want to slip next door, see? And we'll go into the Shamrock Hotel for a couple of minutes. Let's be honest, 2 minutes.
It seems like you could sit with law enforcement and tell them the whole thing. Like, listen, this is what happened. I don't want the public to ever know I was there, but here's what happened to me.
Listen, here's the deal. My wife and I have been together for 19 years. And she is absolutely disgusted by the very sight of me at this point, and I don't blame her. Because I was a bit of a looker when we got married, but at this point, I got a belly, I got bald up here and not looking very good. I got yellow toenails that are way too thick. I can't even trim them anymore without going to the pediatrician. Anyway, she doesn't want to touch me, right? So we ain't had sex in 9 months. Okay, so I'm on a call up here for car insurance, and I see this Shamrock Hotel, and I hear, I know the reputation of it. So I go in and have some illegal hooch, chat up some birds, and all I want to do is get in and out of there, right? Like the Marines, Semper Fi. First in, first out. The next thing I know, I'm getting a club across the back of my head and getting all my money taken from me by the owners.
It's like because you discovered that term, and it's like your new toy. You want to bring out and play. Like, when can I use that next?
Yeah. It applied.
There's a scenario. You're right.
It applied.
You nailed it. Yes. And then if you need me to be like a informant, then I could be like your undercover guy because I want to go back.
I was just trying to set up the scenario.
You're right.
That Maury Watkins, we don't need to judge him immediately. What if he was, what if he was led? What if there was a long road that led him to the Shamrock Hotel? It wasn't his fault. I'm just playing Jesus advocate for Maury Watkins.
There we go. There we go. There's a callback.
Well, on May 22nd, 1964, just a few months before Buford became sheriff, Louise and her husband Jack had gotten into an argument in Unit 1 of their hotel. So Unit 1 was the first room. They had their own house somewhere else, but a lot of times they would just crash at the hotel. And so Unit 1 was not available to the public. That was just like for Jack and Louise, the owners, right?
Okay.
Just to set up the scene. So they got into this argument in Unit 1 of the hotel, and as Louise claimed, Jack had beaten her. So in response, and if he had really beat her, if he was really beating on her, you go, girl, she went to a drawer and grabbed a .38 pistol and put 5 slugs in him. Jack then stumbled out of the parking lot, staggered about 100 feet, and finally collapsed between the hotel and the restaurant out there in the driveway. Now, the Shamrock Hotel and restaurant sat directly on the state line, and since Jack Hathcock collapsed just a few feet from the Mississippi state line, both McNairy County Sheriff James Dickey and Alcorn County Sheriff Grady Bingham investigated.
Okay.
So he was close enough that I guess the sheriff from the neighboring county in Mississippi called jurisdiction as well.
Oh, I thought it would just be like one took it or the other.
I don't know. Yeah. This was the, late 50s. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I wonder how many people have died on a line.
Right? On the state line. So like, what do we do?
Yeah.
His legs are in your county and his torso's in my county.
Well, I'm going to take his shoes and take those for forensics, and you take the hat because his head's in your county.
There you go. His head's in your county.
But he was shot in the stomach. Well, upper or lower? Let's get a tape measure out.
Here's the problem. He had a gunshot wound to his chest and his knee.
Oh,
so there's a wound in each county.
So the leg one, that's an assault because that didn't kill him, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah, you've got assault and we'll do the murder.
I wonder if there's ever been the case that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Attempted murder. Well, I got him in the knee. He's a bad shot, Your Honor.
Well, so the shooter will face assault charges in this county and murder charges in that county.
That's it. Yeah, there it is.
So Louise Hathcock did have scrapes and bruises on her face, consisting with having been beaten, so she was not prosecuted for killing her husband.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was viewed as self-defense. However, it was not lost on the locals that following the death of her husband, Louise immediately began a relationship with Towhead.
I can't get used to the guy's name. What if she did the liar, liar thing? I doubt she did, and I hate to say that. She probably didn't.
I don't know.
99% chance she didn't.
I don't know.
But what if she did? Because she became like a crime syndicate later, so I'm skeptical about that.
Yeah, this is the same gal that had no problem like beating the shit out of people at her hotel and stealing from them.
Yeah.
She was not a good lady.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. What I mean? Yeah, so what are you doing? I'm kicking my own ass.
Honestly, and this is based on nothing. This is just what I feel. I think that she had been messing around with Towhead before. And I do think, I'm sorry. No.
I can't get used to it. I'm so sorry. I'm like a 10-year-old.
Should I just start calling him Carl?
No, I love it too much. I don't want you to.
I think that she'd been messing around with Carl Towhead White before. And I do think, this is just based on nothing, that she killed her husband outright and maybe did a few superficial, facial, whatever, to be like, he was beating on me, and then got away scot-free. I do think that's what happened.
There's another alternative too, where it's like, I love Towhead and you can't do anything about it. It's like, and then he gets mad and does that, and then she's got it all planned, maybe.
I love Towhead, Daddy. I love him.
I love Towhead and I don't care who knows it.
I'm going to shout it from the rooftops.
Towhead forever.
What a stupid ass nickname, though. Towhead.
It's just a different time.
Oh, Jiminy.
But if you're a mob guy and you're killing people, I mean, you can have whatever nickname you want.
That's true.
Well, he was like really blonde, right?
I don't know. Do you think that's where it came from?
Yeah.
Towhead?
Yeah.
Is that a blonde?
Yeah.
Is that really?
Yeah. I always said my kids were toe-headed whenever they were.
Really?
Yeah. I heard it like from my dad, but he would have been like that age.
Oh.
But yeah, toe-headed means they're blonde.
Did not
Like
know.
really
Did you know
blonde.
that?
No, I did not.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
We actually learned something for a change.
There's a really good song by this band called the Decemberists.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Down by the river.
Mm.
There's a line from that song that says, I was just some towhead teen.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Feeling round the fingers to get in between, down by the water. Anyway,
Sam
it's a
has
great
now
song.
enriched that song for you.
He has, thank you. He was just some blonde-headed teen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, man, it's not as funny now. No, it's still.
I just never heard Hitler say, blue-eyed towhead! This the only people!
How do you say towhead in German? Maybe he did.
Oh, dude, how do you say towhead in German? Ask ChatGPT. We're going to find out right now if it was a phrase that Hitler yelled over and over. Blue-eyed. What's towhead in German? God, whoever thought we'd be asking that on this podcast? This thing has gotten out of hand. You know?
No, we're learning stuff.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, so we found out that towhead is actually from the word that it's like a rope. It's like a bundle of rope, and the fibers coming out that are brightly colored. So they call that the end of that rope a towhead. So that's why they called kids towhead, T-O-W.
Yes. And Joe,
Yeah.
how do you have towhead
Yeah.
spelled on your notes, in your notes?
T-O-E.
But you know what?
Okay. So Joe misled us.
I am looking it up. I looked up Carl Douglas Towhead White, and it is indeed T-O-W.
Let me play Joe's advocate, though.
H-E-A-D. I'm sorry.
This is
Now I gotta make a new graphic.
this is a towhead. I think it should be a guy with a toe for a head.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny.
Yeah, I do too.
But in your defense, Joe's advocate, it is a podcast. So you did say towhead, and it is phonetically pronounced like that. But we always were thinking toe, but T-O-W. We didn't know until we looked it up.
So all my like cuticle jokes are now, they don't matter.
They were cuticle, though.
You know, I wonder when I read it, did I not notice that it was TOW? You know, when I was doing the research, or did my brain just go to Towhead?
Your brain probably changed it. You did the Berenstain Bears. You did the Mandela effect.
All my previous jokes are obsolete now about having a towhead. It really makes me upset.
No, because you fully believed it was that. So
Okay.
those jokes are still relevant.
Okay.
Now your jokes will be about tow trucks and stuff. Easy. So, hey, we've solved the towhead mystery.
All right.
But it's because of Sam. Sam figured out from what his dad called his. He said he called your kids that?
Yeah, because Dad, he was born in 38, I think. And so he would have been that age.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in his early 20s at
Yes.
this time. Yeah. Same age as these
He
guys.
probably knew this whole story about this guy.
Oh, I
Yeah,
bet.
so when my kids were babies and younger, their hair was like white.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He would always say they were toe-headed.
Isn't it weird as time goes on, just like certain sayings just go away and other ones take, I mean,
Yeah.
now it's like sus. I don't know. That's why when you hang out with someone older and they say something from yesteryear, it's really cool. Like,
Oh.
you know, it's really neat.
Also, German towhead.
Schleppkopf.
Schleppkopf. So let's recap real quick. Louise has just killed her husband, supposedly in self-defense, and she immediately hooks up with Towhead White. As we just covered, most of Towhead's stills would soon be destroyed by Sheriff Buford Pusser once he was in charge, leading to Towhead fleeing, and he went to nearby Tishomingo County, Mississippi. Soon after, Tishomingo County Sheriff James Bishop, along with federal agents, arrested Towhead, and he was sent to a federal prison in Montgomery, Alabama in 1965.
Okay.
But he wouldn't stay there.
Break out or what?
Break out!
He did, really?
Yeah, he did.
Cool.
We'll get to that, yeah. It plays a big part in the story, actually.
England Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, I need to mention here that by this time, and this is obvious, Sheriff Buford was utterly loathed by both the State Line Mob and the Dixie Mafia because he was severely interrupting their criminal enterprises.
Okay.
He regularly was the subject of hit jobs, all which failed, and it's kind of sort of a miracle that the guy was never whacked, as they say.
Yeah.
At least he probably wasn't. He may have been whacked when he finally died. It's a source of debate. We'll get to that later, too.
Yeah.
So, with Carl Towhead White out of the way, Sheriff Buford focused most of his attention on Louise Hathcock.
Okay.
You would think she would have laid low in hopes of slipping off the sheriff's radar, but no, not Louise. She was a bad bitch, as they say these days. She was a hard scrabble woman with a short temper, and it wasn't long before she and Sheriff Buford would lock horns. On February 1st, 1966, Sheriff Buford received a frantic call from the Shamrock Hotel. A couple from Illinois had stayed there the previous night, and they said the hotel owner, Louise Hathcock, had held them at gunpoint and robbed them.
Okay. So I guess they hadn't done anything shady so where they could still call, I guess.
Right. You know, there probably were just actually good people that just stopped in to stay there.
I was saying that earlier, but I never considered that somebody could have just stayed there and not known it was like a shady place. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just getting in for the night.
Are you tired? I'm tired of driving, Schnookums. Do you want to
Yeah.
find a place to pull off? Well, here's the Shamrock Hotel. Yeah,
I'd never considered that.
I think that happened. So Sheriff Buford immediately obtained a search warrant and, along with two deputies, raced to the Shamrock Motel.
Okay.
Once there, he found Louise in the motel office, drunk and combative. When Sheriff Buford confronted her, she asked if they could step into Unit 1 to speak privately. Buford said, sure. So, this is off the notes. As I read it, Unit 1 was kind of connected to the office. There was a doorway where she could just walk directly into that unit. So she went that way. He went out of the office, out front, and walked in the front door, okay? As that was happening, she went over to that same drawer that she went to with her husband, pulled out that same .38 pistol that she pulled out on her husband, and when Sheriff Buford walked through the door, she pulled it and said, I'm going to kill you! And she fired at him.
Whoa.
She missed his head by a few inches, and the bullet went through a window and lodged into a wooden post outside. She moved closer and fired again, but the pistol jammed. Buford quickly pulled his pistol and returned fire, and he did not miss. Louise was hit 3 times, once in the head, and she died where she stood.
Buford Pusser doesn't miss.
Never misses, right? That's perfect. The killing was viewed as self-defense, and Sheriff Buford was not charged with any crimes. It's worth noting, however, that to this day, rumors persist that it was Sheriff Buford who fired first because he just wanted Louise out of his hair for good. Who the hell knows? I doubt it, kind of. I don't know. But we're going to find out something later that might make you think, oh, maybe he did.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys. When news of Louise's death reached Carl Towhead White over at the federal prison in Montgomery, Alabama, he was furious. He shot my girl. 10 months later, on December 11th, 1966, Towhead and a fellow inmate named Julius French escaped from prison. And where do you think they went?
They went to find Buford.
You're damn right. Well, no one knows for certain, really, but considering what happened next.
You're right, but I don't know for sure.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But only in theory, because we don't really know. But
I just like how you put so much behind it. And then you just, like, in the next breath, you just, like, backed off totally.
Well, okay. I strongly feel like he went to go look up Sheriff Buford, like you said.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Because if not, it was just a total coincidence what happened next.
Okay, all right.
On January 2nd, less than a month after the prison break, Sheriff Buford pulled over a light green Chrysler with Mississippi plates for speeding. There were 2 men inside the car, and when the sheriff approached the window, he was shot 3 times. The shooters, surely assuming he was dead, sped away. However, old Buford the Bull was tougher than they realized. The badly wounded sheriff dragged himself back to his cruiser and drove himself to the hospital. To this day, it's not certain who the shooter was. Oddly enough, though, just 3 days after the shooting, Towhead turned himself back in to authorities and went back to prison. So it might just be a coincidence that Carl Towhead White, who was furious and wanted to kill Sheriff Buford for the murder of Louise Hathcock, maybe it was just a coincidence that he escaped prison and just a couple weeks later, this assault happened on Buford, and then just 3 days later, he turned himself back in.
I mean, he could have found somebody to pay even if it wasn't him.
True. That's true.
You know?
Yeah. Whatever the case, I 100% believe he had something to do with it.
Yeah. Man, it would be way smarter if he could have stayed in jail. It'd be the perfect alibi.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's one unshakable alibi.
Yep.
Unless you're able to sneak out and sneak back in, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Here's the plan. You're going to cause a riot, and we're going to walk out the front door. Anyway. Little Dr. Evil for you.
Devo didn't like that plan at first, but then he was all for it.
I love how they're outside, him and Mini-Me running around in the little spotlights are following them.
And he tries to do the shuffle like he's walking one way, but he's really walking the other.
Yeah.
That lives rent-free in my mind.
Also, their prison rat. It's the hard knock life.
Oh, yeah.
Towhead was shocked and angry when he learned Sheriff Buford was still alive. And at some point over the next few months, he called up a buddy named Kirksey McCord Nix Jr. That's a mouthful. Wow. Yeah. We'll just call him Kirksey or maybe Nix from now on. Now, he called him to put out a hit on Sheriff Buford Pusser and finish the job. On the night of August 11th, 1967, Nix and 2 of his associates, they go to the Shamrock Hotel and they go to the nearby 45 Club and they party, they get drunk, they probably hook up with a couple hookers. Then, early in the morning hours of August 12th, a call was placed to the home of Sheriff Buford from someone claiming there had been a disturbance out on New Hope Road. As Buford was getting ready, his wife, Pauline, she suddenly asked if she could ride along, and he said sure. I think they did that sometimes. I don't think that was very rare. As the pair drove out to the location in Buford's Plymouth Fury police cruiser, they passed New Hope Church. When they did, according to Sheriff Buford, a dark-colored Cadillac with its headlights off pulled out from behind the church and began to pursue them. Remember, it was early in the morning and still dark, so Buford's visibility was limited. As the sheriff slowed down to cross a low-water bridge, the Cadillac's bright lights flooded the sheriff's car, and a hail of bullets came flying.
Oh, man, ambush.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. All of the glass in the back of Buford's cruiser shattered, and Pauline slumped forward. Realizing it was an ambush, Sheriff Buford floored the gas to outrun the Cadillac. After a few frantic miles of high-speed driving, he no longer saw the caddy in the rear view and pulled over to check on his wife. Now, it was this time that he realized that she was dead. She'd been struck in the back of the head. But before he could even process what he had just seen with his wife, the Cadillac's lights covered him again, along with another barrage of bullets. This time, Sheriff Buford was struck twice in the face by a .30 caliber carbine, blowing away a large portion of his jawbone. Seeing the sheriff slumped over in the car, the assassins assumed he was dead and they sped away. But we've been here before. The tough old bastard was still alive and somehow managed to reach his radio. Now remember, his jaw was literally hanging off his face. Okay, he couldn't even speak. So he reached the radio, but he could not communicate because the bottom part of his mouth was gone. Like, it was horrific. And you can look up pictures of him afterwards. Dude, his face, the bottom part of his face was basically blown off. Even after all the surgeries and stuff, he still looked pretty messed up. All the scars and stuff. Now, luckily, he was found quickly and rushed to the Baptist Memorial Hospital in Memphis. You find pictures? Yeah. See, that's after. Look at his face, man. Look at the left side of his face. And there's pictures. Yeah. So he had, we'll get into it, but he had multiple surgeries to fix his face, and it never was totally normal. Buford Pusser would remain in the hospital for the next 18 days and would eventually undergo 16 surgeries to fix his butchered face. Yeah. At first, he identified Kirksey Nix as the shooter. However, he would soon retract that claim and say he never got a clear enough view of the shooters to provide a positive identification. However, it's no secret that Buford knew Carl Towhead White was the architect behind the ambush. Although Buford would not identify Nix as his wife's killer, Nix removed all doubt that he was capable of murder on Easter Sunday, 1971. On that day, he murdered an Italian mobster and grocery owner named Frank J. Corso in New Orleans. He was actually arrested and tried for murder and wound up in the Louisiana State Penitentiary. From there, this is a crazy story. We're going to go on a sidebar with Kirksey Nix for a minute.
Let's go.
From the Louisiana State Penitentiary, he built a criminal empire. The following is quoted from the United States Court of Appeals 5th Circuit. All right, so this is not me. This is something I lifted straight from the files. While serving a life sentence for murder at Angola State Penitentiary, Nix built a criminal empire from which he hoped to earn enough money to buy his way out of prison. Although he dabbled in insurance fraud and drug dealing, Nix's primary money-making scheme was a Lonely Hearts scam designed to defraud homosexual men. Nix and his prison syndicate would place personal advertisements in national homosexual magazines. When men would respond to these ads, Nix or one of his associates would indicate that they were having financial difficulties and needed the respondent to wire money to a Nix associate outside of the prison. Nix acquired hundreds of thousands of dollars from this scam. Mike Gillich was the alleged underworld boss of Biloxi, Mississippi, and he aided Nix in his various crime schemes. Peter Hallett, a Biloxi attorney, maintained a trust for Nix. In December of 1986, Hallett told Nix and Gillich that approximately $100,000 of Nix's money was missing from the office trust account. Hallett indicated that he suspected Vincent Sherry, Hallett's former law partner and a Mississippi Circuit judge, of stealing the money. Coincidentally, Judge Sherry's wife, Margaret, was a Biloxi mayoral candidate, critical of Gillich's operations. The prosecution produced evidence that the three men arranged to have the Sherrys killed. So, from inside prison, Kirksey Nix put out the hit on Judge Sherry and his wife, and they were killed. And it led back to him. By the way, Kirksey Nix is still alive.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's still alive and is currently being held at the Federal Correctional Institution in El Reno, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah.
I say he's innocent since he does hits from prison, allegedly.
The gay Lonely Hearts scheme was odd.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that, tons of women have done it.
Yeah.
So we covered this on Robert Blake, the gal that he was suspected or is suspected of killing his wife. She did that Lonely Hearts scheme before, and she would send dudes like nude photos of herself and whatever. It's like, I'd come to your house and make love to you, but I got to fix my Honda Civic. I need $80. She just did that over and over, and they would send money, and she just made tons of money that way.
Yeah.
Hey, if you got the looks, use them. That's what I'm saying. I'm too ugly for any of that, so I gotta do a 40 hours honest hard day's work.
Yeah. Lonely Hearts scams. Beware. Now it's like where they pretend to be Microsoft, and that's the scam now.
Yeah.
You've got a virus on your computer.
Oh, no.
Well, I'm sure the Lonely Hearts thing is still a thing too, but
Yeah. I got a thing in my email from somebody pretending to be like our town's mayor.
Oh, wow.
That said, like, oh, we need extra funds for something, and what I need you to do is go buy like gift cards and send me the. It was really weird. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I called our public works director, and he's like, yeah, no, that's total bullshit. So, yeah, there's just always scams out there like that. Well, exactly a year after the ambush, Carl Towhead White, T-O-W, was released from prison in September of 1968. 7 months later, on April 4th, 1969, he and the wife of one Gary Smith Jr. drove up Highway 45 and pulled off at a place called Teresa's Truck Stop. Next door to the truck stop was the El Rey Motel, a business partly owned by Gary Smith. So, to backtrack, Towhead's driving out with this gal, and she partly owns, with her husband Gary, this El Reno Motel. She pulls up to it with Towhead. I think maybe there's been some infidelity going on, I'm guessing. And then Gary Smith, her husband, when they pull up, he's out there and he sees, right? It's not good.
No.
It's a real Jerry Springer moment. So when Towhead and Smith's wife pulled up in front of room number 3 at the motel, Gary Smith confronted the couple and began shouting, "Hey, Towhead, what are you doing with my wife?" Right? It was then that Towhead pulled a pistol and began firing at Smith. Smith returned fire and struck Carl, killing him on the spot. So that was the end of Carl Towhead White.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, that's the official version of the story. There are several other versions. One claims that Smith was lying on the roof with a sniper rifle and shot Towhead as they pulled up. Another version claims Towhead was shot by someone sitting in the back seat. Of course, there are rumors that Sheriff Buford had a hand in it, seeking retribution for his wife's death. But whatever the case, law enforcement all over the area was surely relieved that one of their most notorious outlaws was finally dead.
Yeah, all the stories ended the same.
Yeah.
No more Towhead.
No more Towhead's dead. They called the shooting self-defense, and Smith was never charged with any crime, and everyone went about their day. Now, let's get back to late 1967.
Sure.
We kind of got off there for a minute. At this point, if I were Sheriff Buford Pusser, I'd take an inventory of my life and my profession. My wife is dead. Half my face is blown off. I've been shot and stabbed more than a dozen times, and every criminal in the region wants to kill me. At this point, I would have retired and moved far, far away.
Or would you?
And opened a general store in some remote mountain town. I would have. I would have.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if you would have. I mean, there's another part of me is thinking like, man, you've already experienced all that and your wife was killed. You might as well just do things your own way and even the score. Of course, I'm not brave enough to do that.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's like,
would your inner badass come out? That's
and I guess that's what the movies show.
I mean, he was already a badass, obviously, because of everything before. So, yeah, maybe it would have been very out of character for him to take off.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought, y'all can't kill me. You know, you stabbed and shot me 14 times. You know, ambushed me. Everything was unsafe. I'm still here. I'm still standing strong than I've ever been.
I was going a different way in the songs.
Not Elton John?
I was going to Alice in Chains. Oh. You can't snub the Buford. Does he say snub? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know. There's
I can't remember
maybe
the
it's
lines.
Snuff.
It is snuff. Yeah, I think it is. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Walking tall. He even says walking tall in it.
Oh,
Machine Gun Man.
Yeah.
They spit on me in McNary
We should
County.
totally spoof that song and make it about Buford Pusser.
We should. Oh, man.
Or should it be the Buford or the Pusser?
Pusser.
The Pusser.
But Buford sounds kind of like Rooster because it's like, ooh.
Come to kill the
Either
Buford.
way.
Oh, yeah.
You could go back and forth with it.
Yeah. Shot him good, Towhead White. Son of a bitch, killed my wife.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, God, please, won't you help me make it through? That's we should do that. So, yeah, instead of taking off, Sheriff Buford, he just doubled down and got right back to work, man.
See, that's what I was thinking. I wouldn't, but I figured he was going to be that.
He was made of sterner stuff, Ivan.
I think so.
It only took a year for the next event to happen. On Christmas Day of 1968, Sheriff Buford received a call from a landlord reporting his tenant, a guy named Charles Russell Hamilton, had threatened him with a gun. When Buford responded, he found Hamilton highly intoxicated and combative. I feel like that's a theme
Sure.
in this story. What resulted was Sheriff Buford shooting and killing Charles Russell Hamilton. So the second person he's killed in the line of duty now after Louise Heathcock.
You know, I'm starting to think the asthma wouldn't have mattered. He probably would have been a great soldier. I mean, he did the wrestling thing, and he's done all this stuff. He's got his jaw shot off and came right back. I mean,
it's a hell of a soldier.
I kind of feel like they messed up on that.
I do too.
Oh, the asthma will keep. There's no way. There's no way he
He goes on to be the most badass sheriff in the history of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
By this time, Sheriff Buford Pusser was not only a local legend, but was nationally known as well. The ambush that had killed his wife, his many horrific gunshot wounds, the barroom brawls over illegal liquor, had all contributed to making Buford a living legend. However, due to term limits, he was unable to run for sheriff again in 1970. Instead, he settled for being constable of the city of Adamsville. Constable.
Okay.
A position he held for the next 2 years. Now, during that 2 years, guess what? Hollywood came a calling.
Oh, okay.
Hollywood, and a movie was going to be made based on the life of Buford Pusser, and everyone knows by now it was called
Walking Tall.
Walking Tall. The film starred the legendary Joe Don Baker and was released on February 22nd, 1973.
And that guy's tall too, right?
Joe Don was pretty tall.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that name or think of him, I can't help but think of MST3K.
Oh, I know.
They covered so many Joe Don Baker movies. But
yeah, for sure.
But it was a surprise hit. So it had a budget of $500,000, but grossed more than $23 million.
Yeah, I remember it being on cable all the time.
Yeah, it was huge. Huge. Now, based on the film's success, plans to produce a sequel were soon launched, and this time producers wanted the man himself to star in it. They asked Buford if he would consider playing himself in the film, and he said yes.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
He even signed the contract. But fate had other plans.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. On August 21st, 1974, Buford drove his 1973 Corvette Stingray to Memphis, where he signed the contract with Bing Crosby Productions to portray himself in Walking Dead 2.
Okay. How were they going to explain that? It's like one had a different guy, but two has the real guy? That's kind of weird to me.
He's even more walking. Even taller. I don't know.
Walking taller. That's what it'd be now. That's what they do with sequels now. They're tired of saying part two.
Taller?
Walking taller.
He walked so hard. He was just walking taller. Walking Taller, starring Buford Pusser. That evening, Buford went to the McNairy County Fair. He's celebrating. I'm fixing to be a movie star. He throws back a bunch of Coors, right?
Yep.
Jumps in his Stingray. He's hauling ass home at a high rate of speed drunk.
Oh, no.
Think we all see where this is going.
I bet he was listening to Act Naturally by Ringo. Because think about it. All he'd have to do is act naturally.
That's perfect. Yeah. Just be yourself, man. Yeah. So, yeah, as he's hauling ass home in his Corvette, he loses control and crashes into an embankment.
So that's how he died?
That is, yep.
Wow.
He was ejected from the car and suffered a broken neck. So, after dodging death so many times, it finally caught up with him. Buford Pusser died that day at just 36 years old.
Wow.
36, guys.
I thought you were going to say he was in his 40s.
Nope. He fit a lot of life into a short time.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
I've outlived him by 11 years so far.
I think about that.
There's a clip from, I'm wearing the shirt. There's a clip from the Golden Girls the other day where one of the ladies, I think Blanche, is talking and she says, yeah, I'm 41 in the clip.
Oh, yeah.
What?
She always says she's in her 40s.
Yeah, but I mean, how old was she really though?
Hold on. I'll
Early
look it up.
50s probably.
Yeah, but the thing is like, she wasn't like 70.
No, it's like when you find out, like on Roseanne, when that show started, her and Dan were in like their mid 30s.
Wow.
We're way older than that. When you find out all these shows you watched as a kid, we're older than the parents now.
It's because when you're young, you have an unrealistic view of people in their 40s and 50s. But then when you get older, I don't know. I don't know if you have a realistic view, but
Rue
it's
was
kind of weird.
Well, Blanche was 51.
Okay,
when
see?
the show started.
Early 50s.
See, I'm just a few years away from a golden girl.
She was the youngest on the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, well, what's funny is Estelle Getty, Sophia,
yeah, like the
mom,
older lady.
she was the second youngest. She was 62. And then,
Whoa.
62?
yeah, Betty White and B. Arthur were 63.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was when the show started.
None of them were that old. That's not old.
No.
I mean, if you're in your 20s listening to this podcast, you think that's older than shit. But trust me, when you get into your deep 40s like us, you're like, 60's not old. I wonder if 60-year-olds are like, 80's not old. I don't know. When does that
At
stop?
some point, you got to embrace it, right?
Right. Like, oh, that's old as shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Buford Pusser was already a legend, but after his death, that legendary status grew to near mythical proportions. Several more walking tall films were made, like Sam was talking about earlier, and they elevated his status even more. However, and this is what I alluded to at the beginning of the very opening, recent events have cast doubt on his squeaky clean reputation as a morally just deliverer of justice.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, here we go. This blew my panties off, y'all. For decades, there were whispers that Pauline's death seemed suspicious, and some wondered if it had really gone exactly the way Buford claimed it had. Then, on January 5th, 2024, 56 years after her death, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation exhumed Pauline's body to perform an autopsy, something that had not been done back in 1967.
I wonder what's the body like.
You know, I've heard that even bodies that old are still like frighteningly preserved. Like, you know what I mean? Even Abe Lincoln, didn't they move him at one point? And they even said that after like 90 years or something, or whatever it was, that he was still like, it just looked like he was laying there. I don't know.
I mean, I think now with all the Doritos and Little Debbie's weed, I think that we'll be like pristine.
We're already preserved.
Exactly.
I had a big old bag of Cheetos in the car with you.
Yeah.
On the way here. My gut's
Yeah.
going to be preserved for 1,000,000 years. And half these gals laying around here, their boobies are going to be preserved because they're silicone. You know what I mean? There's going to be parts of us forever. I don't take that back. I'm sorry. That autopsy, as well as a subsequent investigation into the ambush that took her life, concluded that the evidence did not fit Buford's version of the story.
Oh, wow.
Pauline's nose had been broken shortly before her death, and she had been shot at close range, not at further away, like from a passing car. Further analysis of the crime scene photos led detectives to believe that Buford's facial wounds were self-inflicted and that Pauline's blood patterns were not consistent with his story. The TBI went so far as to say that if Buford Pusser were alive today, he would be arrested and indicted for the death of Pauline Pusser.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Here's what I want to say, though. I don't know if I buy it. Would you blow your own jaw off with a gun? Holy shit.
To take the chance of killing yourself to maybe
Right.
survive it, to be able to go after this guy or something?
Like, imagine
I don't know.
blowing your jaw off with a gun. Now, I might believe self-inflicted wounds if it was like he caught one in the shoulder, you know, or like
Right.
one in the knee. But his jaw was blown. Would you blow your jaw off?
Okay, well, you don't think he was just trying to do a murder-suicide and it went wrong, do you?
Nah, I don't know. That could be. I don't know. But, you know, I want to say that, oh, God, that crazy lady that killed her kids, Rudier, or whatever her last name was, she made up a story that some dude came in and slashed her, and she slashed her own throat, and it came within like 0.5 millimeter of her jugular. So she, you know, maybe people do that. She did. She slashed her throat deep to verify the story. I mean, she was nuts. So maybe this guy, maybe he did, but good Lord, that's dedication.
But for what reason? You know, really?
Right.
But I mean, the facts from the exhumed body, that's still pretty solid. I mean, I just don't know. I guess it's questions. It's that thing, questions more than answers.
Right, right.
Because, I mean, that's pretty solid science when they're like, how far a gunshot,
yeah.
unless there's some kind of junk science thing in there.
But his witness account was after he had his jaw blown off, right? So how accurate could that could have messed with his mind?
Yeah, the way,
playing devil's advocate here for our hero.
Buford's advocate.
Yeah, Buford's advocate. Yeah, maybe his account was wrong, but that also, half his head got almost blown off. So that can make your memory kind of fuzzy.
Yeah. I just have no matter what the forensic evidence points to, I have such a hard time with the concept that he would just blow his jaw off, dude. God dang. No, it was horrific. It was horrific injuries. So I don't know. They're at odds with each other. I don't know, man. I don't know on that.
Yeah.
I would like to think that it's more of kind of what I just said, like that happened to him. Memory's really fuzzy, that he could just recall anything.
And so maybe instead of driving, what if one of the guys parked and ran over real quick?
Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah.
I have a real hard time believing.
Yeah, it'd be hard to flip it the whole way to where it's like, well, your story's all wrong and you killed her.
Right. I don't buy it. I don't.
Sure.
I'll just say that I don't think he killed his wife. I'll just say that I don't.
Yeah, there'd have to be some more. Yeah, that's not enough for me either. Anyway.
Well, yeah, so, there's possibly this big stain now on his legacy because at least some people, they happen to be detectives. Not just like Jerry H123 Butt Eater on TikTok or whatever their freaking names are that says it. It's actual detectives that say he probably killed his wife. Yeah, I said that.
Go ahead, 736.
So that's a twist ending, right? So I'll say this. If Buford did kill his wife, then that does cast a whole lot of doubt on, maybe he did pull the trigger first on Louise Hathcock. Like if he could kill his own wife, he would surely just take out this old broad that had been a pain in his ass forever. When they went into that back room, she'd been a moonshine runner and he'd always had to go out there for calls and stuff.
Sure.
Even this Charles Hamilton guy that was drunk. Anybody he killed in the line of duty, which that was the only two. If he actually did kill his wife, that makes me wonder, if you'd kill your own wife, then you'd have no problem just killing this ne'er-do-well that lived in your town that was always giving you problems. But having said all that, I still don't think he did it.
Yeah.
I don't think he killed his wife. If he did, you talk about dedication. Can you just imagine his wife's dead and he's just standing there like taking deep breaths with the gun up to his jaw like, okay, we're okay, 1, 2. Can you imagine that? I'm just going to blow my jaw off, all right? To set up this. No, I would have been like, oh, the bullet grazed my knee a little bit. you know?
Yeah.
I would not blow my jaw off to verify the story. And you wouldn't have to. All these people wanted him dead. He had 2 major crime syndicates that had put out hits on him and had tried to kill him multiple times. It was a believable story that they were going to be ambushed. In my opinion, he would not have had to include this horrible injury to himself to make that story fly. He'd already been tried. They tried to kill him 12 times before.
Sure.
So you don't need to convince anyone. They'd be like, of course they tried to kill you. It's so sad that she got caught in the crossfire. So I think that was an unnecessary, may history prove me right.
Well, when you said that there was a twist to the story, I thought you were going to say that all the stuff that he did was staged, like the people that he killed that were bad. He did a thing that they do in movies where it's like, he just broke in and shot somebody and then made it look like it was a back and forth thing. That's where I thought you were going. I didn't think you were going to that.
Well, since the Pauline murder theory, there are theories about that.
Oh, okay.
What you just said is a theory that
cracked the door open and then everyone else kicked through and started talking about.
Yeah, because there's now a theory that he just walked in, blew Louise Hathcock away, then walked over and got her pistol and fired it to show.
Oh, see, that's what I thought you were. I thought
that's
you were
a theory that's out there now. Yeah, so and it may have been out there before this whole thing came up, but
sure.
I don't know. I guess we'll just this stuff all just came out within this last year.
Yeah,
and so I guess we'll just keep you posted on that. But I'm gonna go ahead and slide all my chips on.
Yeah, right now I just don't. It doesn't seem plausible.
It's just the blown away jaw that gets me. I just
wow. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it. That's the end. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just keep you posted on that.
Sure.
So hey man, 417 or women, ladies, whoever, folks, gentlemen, whatever you identify as, call in 417-4-MANTIS. Let us know what you think, especially about the ending there. Do you think that he could have killed his wife? Do you think he had the dedication to just hold a gun up and just blow his jaw off?
Yeah.
Do you really, crazier things have happened, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, call us, let us know what you think. And
we don't know this for sure, but we were talking about this on the way over here. Kevin, a long time ago, listener Kevin, he mentioned talking about the real story of,
that's right.
He said we should talk about it on the podcast. Joe said he didn't remember for sure where he got the idea to do this, but it may have been from him. We can't remember I can't actually remember if I told you.
I think you did. I saw on the way here, I told Ivan, hey, guess what we're talking about tonight? And I brought up Buford Pusser, and Ivan said, hey, Kevin said that we should cover that. And then I got to thinking, and I was like, I think you said that like months ago, and that just little seed just sat in the back of my brain. And
it would have been about a year ago, probably.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So then the other day, it just popped, and I was like, hey, Buford Pusser, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But I think it was placed there indirectly by Kevin. Thank you, sir.
Planted a seed in the garden of your mind.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Good episode.
And it worked, yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks everyone again for listening. This was a fun one. We will catch you on the next one.